This week on the Steam Machine podcast, well, boys, the chromes are blazing and the deads are raising. Cue the music. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week is my good buddy.
Hello, it's Adam.
It's Adam! And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. We're recording this like a week early, so your boy gets a week off next week. I don't know what to do with myself. I might play with my balls. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, man. How you been, my good sir? I feel like I just talked to you recently.
Yeah. Literally one exact week ago.
One
to
week
peek behind the curtain. Yeah. So I've actually had a really, really good week in terms of playing games and watching media.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I beat 3 games this week. How crazy is that?
Damn, son.
One that we're going to talk about and 2 that I've been working on for a while. I've also just been, I found the gift card that I got given for Father's Day from my kids. So I bought a couple of games.
Yeah, I saw on the Steam Machine Discord that you said +3 for fanatical games, but you did not elaborate, or if you did, I didn't click on it.
Yeah, no, so I'm going to talk about it here. That's why I just said +3 games. Yeah. So first up, the Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth investigations that got released probably, 2 days ago now, I think. It was only a real short while ago. So a spin-off of Ace Attorney, obviously, featuring the prosecutor character Miles Edgeworth.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Miles Edgeworth is, like, I'll call it an enemy in one of the Ace Attorney games, and then some stuff happens, and then it turns out that he's not such a bad guy, correct? Like, without going into too much detail?
So in the first game, in the trilogy collection, he's the antagonist, and then by the end of that first game, he's a frenemy more than anything. So I got that one there, and I also got I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. So this was an early DOS game that is completely fucked up, but it's got a great story. I've heard nothing but great things about it on the review boards.
I have that on GOG, and I think it's based on a book. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, from memory. Yep.
But talk about something that would have been a cool Junji Ito anime.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get, and from what I've heard. So I'm looking forward to that. And I also got a bundle which didn't have anything good, really. It had Killing Floor 2. That was probably the only game I knew out of it. And I haven't played that game before. I think it's just a gore shooter from memory.
So, if my memory serves me right, Killing Floor, it's like it's a gory shooter type thing. But if I think that might be the one that you can like link to Twitch, and your Twitch chat controls what spawns in there for you to deal with.
Okay.
That might have been a different game. But I remember there was one game that was like that it had a Twitch interactivity where like your chat could help you or they could absolutely fuck you.
Oh, well, I don't go on Twitch, so that I won't be using that feature. But I might gift it to you. I haven't uploaded the key yet. If you still stream on Twitch, or anyone that streams on Twitch, hit me up. Yeah,
I haven't streamed on Twitch in a long time. I keep telling myself I'm going to, and then I just don't. Unfortunately, I just don't know why. But so other than that, there was something else I was going to say about. Doesn't matter. Don't remember. Continue,
That's okay.
I guess, sir.
So then the games are finished. Evil West was one of them, because I'm going through Game Pass games before I get rid of that subscription service, because I've been on a big cleanse in terms of getting rid of a lot of social media, getting rid of subscription services I don't really use or need.
Hey man, that's probably cathartic. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I know there's Evil West and then there's Weird West, right? Those are the...
Yeah. So Weird West is the top-down isometric kind of Diablo-like, I want to say, with guns. I haven't played that much of it. But Evil West is the third-person action shooter that starts off like really Souls-like. It's quite difficult, but it's a really short game. Like, I've beat on the hardest difficulty in 10 hours.
Damn. On the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, well, it's what Redfall should have been, in my opinion, because it's vampires in the Wild West, and you get a bunch of cool gear to kill them in a variety of different ways. You've got your electroshock gauntlet, which is like your melee weapon, and then you get your 6 shooters and your rifle, and you end up getting a Gatling gun by the end of the game. So you just walk around with this electrified Gatling gun, just ripping shit up. So by the end of the game, you're definitely overpowered. Yeah.
Man, just thinking about the destruction that you could wield with an electrified Gatling gun.
Yeah. It didn't have destructible environments or anything, though, and it was quite linear. But, of course, on PC with settings turned up to ultra, anything looks fucking beautiful. So it was a beautiful game. And the other game I've been playing is Ether 1, which is a first-person puzzle game. So you play this guy who is going into people's minds to try and fix their dementia. So it's a real interesting game in terms of looking at what ethics and medical science, and do you lose your ethics to potentially help more people in the future by being able to create better medical technology, or do you use ethical practices on the people that you're using this technology on for the first time to meet their needs and treat them ethically? So it had a real interesting look at that and a really good twist at the end of the story, so I won't talk too much about the story. But the way that I got onto that game, and I'll do a big shout out here, is my backlog tracker that I use. So it's called infinitebacklog.net. And on this game, on this site, you can import your Xbox, your Steam, and your PSN libraries just by typing in your username, and it imports it from there after some verification. So it's really good at pulling everything. I've had a chat with the creator of the site about doing the same thing for Switch, but of course, Nintendo being Nintendo have a really strict privacy policy, so they're like, we can't do it. It's just impossible at the moment. You can't even view your Switch library online, I think. So, I can sign into my Nintendo account on a PC, and I can see my purchase history, but I can't see what is in my Switch library.
Dude, I would kill for there to be a website that I could get all of my computer games in one. So if you wanted to take that idea and use it for Steam, Epic, GOG, Ubisoft, Origin, all of those, and be able to do that, that would be sweet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what Infinite Backlog does. So I've only got Steam, Xbox, and PS accounts, but I'm pretty sure you can do it for GOG as well.
Oh my god. Okay, well then I'm gonna need a link to that site, my good sir.
Yep, it'll be in the show notes.
Thank you.
Because they also do challenges as well. So for example, they've got one where you play all the 3D Legend of Zeldas, and once you tick them off your backlog, you get a cool little badge and a cool little title for your profile. And anything that makes numbers go up for me, I just absolutely adore. Any real-life thing with RPG mechanics, I'm in. Completely in.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's like on my retro handheld thing when I found out that I could link it to retroachievements.com.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, dude, you're telling me that now I have achievements for all of these retro games that never had them? Let's go.
I've also been watching potentially a controversial TV series.
Oh, hold on. Before we move on to that.
Yeah.
That game you were talking about with the ethic decisions and stuff.
Yep.
That reminds me of a quest that I did in Mass Effect that I don't think we talked about on the episode. We may have. But where you talk to the one guy, I don't remember his name, but his wife, the military is keeping his wife's body.
Oh,
his wife died in the fight.
Yep.
Yes. And he's like, can you go talk them into giving her body back? And you're like, yeah, sure. And then you go off and talk to the dude, and he's like, well, she was killed with technology that we've never seen before, so it would be better if we could study it. That way we can build defenses towards it. So you go back and tell the guy that, he's like, that's absolutely not acceptable. I will take my wife's body back, blah, blah, blah. And then you go back and you're like, dude, this guy wants his wife's body. And the dude's like, well, tell him, does he want this one body, or does he want her, what she would probably want it to do is to go towards science to possibly protect millions of people? And it was an ethics decision. I ended up leaving that quest alone. I just walked away from it. I'm like, they can just have her body. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not giving your wife's body back. It's for the betterment of humanity.
Yep. And did you use that Paragon option to say to him, oh, yep, it's for the greater good, your wife could really help people, so it kind of left on a good note with him? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So for that one, I got the body back. I gave him the body back.
Did you? You bastard. No, I'm kidding. It was... I mean, I like moral choices like that in the game because not everyone's going to make the same choice, you know?
Yep. Yeah,
I find that keeps it interesting.
You and Jeff, or you suggesting to Jeff to play The Witcher 3 really made me want to jump into it because it's not a game I've jumped into either.
Oh, it's so good. It's so... Listen, though, and I tell everybody this, so I know Jeff will be listening to this because I don't think I actually had the chance to mention it to him last time. The Witcher 3's combat is not fucking around. So I always suggest start out playing on easy. You can change the difficulty as you're playing. Play on easy, get used to how Geralt uses that sword, because once you get used to that fluidity and you can really fight, then you can turn the difficulty up and start challenging yourself if you want to. I play it with Wiimod these days because my Geralt doesn't die. My Geralt is a badass. My Geralt is the star of a TV show. And the star of the TV shows doesn't die unless it's Game of Thrones, and this ain't Game of Thrones, bitch.
Yeah, I really found that because I've only ever delved into the first one all the way back when it came out on PC in like 2002, 2003. And you had to use fucking oil on your swords to be able to fight werewolves properly and all sorts of shit like that. And yeah, the combat
same way.
Brutal. Yep.
But it controls a hell of a lot better than the original Witcher, because the original Witcher, man, it's weird to go back to now because of the way that the combat was done. But this one's much more like a normal action RPG style of fighting.
Yep.
But yeah, if you play on, say you wanted to play on Death March, which I think is the hardest difficulty, you absolutely have to, all right, what am I going to go fight? Let me look in the bestiary. What's it weak to? All right, let me go get those ingredients to make the poison, to put the oil on the blade so you do more damage to it and stuff. You don't have to worry about that shit on easy. You can. It'll make your life a lot easier. But on easy, you can do it whatever. Also, there's this little mod that auto-applies oils. It's fantastic.
It sounds like it would definitely have to go. Well, it was on Game Pass at one point. If it was still on Game Pass, it'd bump it up my list so much quicker. But
well, also keep your eye out, or next time I see it on sale, it goes on sale on GOG a lot because CD Projekt Red either GOG owns CD Projekt Red or CD Projekt Red owns GOG. One of the two. So like they sell their stuff all the time. Like they did a thing one time where it was like buy The Witcher 3 and get Witcher 1 and 2 for free.
Oh my god, yeah.
And shit like that. Like when they first started GOG Galaxy, their launcher, they were like, prove to us that you own The Witcher 3 on PlayStation 4 or Steam and get it on GOG for free.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. And I did that. And it gave me The Witcher. Now, granted, it's not the Game of the Year edition like I have on Steam, but still, it was free. So really, if you don't care about DLC, I could DRM free send you a version of The Witcher for you to check out.
Oh no, I've got the whole trilogy, but once again, like it's on the list to get to eventually.
Yeah, and it's a pretty long game.
Yeah.
I want to say if you were to like really just try to beat it, you're talking at least 60 hours, 80 hours. Okay, I think a lot more into it.
We're looking like Persona level of bloody gameplay time with side quests.
But not quite as much reading as Persona.
Okay. Because, well, again, bring it back to Mass Effect. Can Geralt fuck a bunch of monsters, though, in number 3? Because I know he can in 1.
Monsters? I do not remember right offhand. I do know there's a brothel that you can go to, and there are like main characters that you can bang. I only recommend trying to romance one of them, though, for the sake of Geralt. And I'll leave it at that. If you romance Triss and Yennefer, just go ahead.
You're in for just a bad time.
Yeah. No, it's the cutscene itself is hilarious. It's just like if you like Geralt, just don't put him through that.
Okay.
But okay, so you were talking about anime. It's possibly something that was controversial. So you've been watching
a TV show,
Nokota,
yeah.
huh? Oh, TV show.
Oh, mate, we could be here all day about me watching controversial anime.
Yeah.
Because I was a champion for something that came up on your anime list that we can probably get to if you ever watch. But yeah, I've been watching Rings of Power. The Lord of the Rings show. Prequel. Yeah. Okay. And I've got a controversial opinion about it. Let's keep in mind, though, that I'm purely a guy that's seen both trilogies on film. And that's it. Never delved into the books. Haven't really delved into the games. So to me, Rings of Power is not that bad.
All right.
Copped a lot of hate when it came out, but telling Galadriel's story is pretty good so far. Just near the end of the first season, but got the feeling we're going to jump into the second season pretty quick.
Yeah, see, I forgot that it came out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be opposed to watching it because even stuff that's like, say, I'll use the term subpar, even though you're saying it's good, you know. So I'll take your word for it because you're the first person I've heard talk about it, to be honest with you. But even if it's subpar, if it's like in the realm of something that I enjoy, I'm probably still gonna like it. You know what I mean? I love Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Yes, I'm talking about the second Mortal Kombat movie that everyone's like, that movie's a pile of dog shit. It looks like a TV movie. And you know what? I fucking love it. I love Queen of the Damned. And many of people will tell you, even the person I started this show with, Ryan's like, you like that movie because it's got a killer soundtrack and that's it. No, actually, thank you. I love it for that. And because I think Stuart Townsend was a fantastic Lestat. I think he was better than Tom Cruise. Personally. So like, dude, I might watch that and be like, dude, Adam was right. This shit's great. Or I might watch it and be like, this ain't my Lord of the Rings. Huck too. Oh man. Okay, hold on. Side tangent. Have you seen? Speaking of Huck too, Haktua girl is now starting a podcast.
No.
Called Talk Tua, and I'm
Excellent.
Like, this chick is really riding this fucking thing.
Keep
and you know what?
the fucking way,
good on her.
Yep.
Yeah, good on her, dude. At this point, like, made a joke and she's a millionaire now, right? I know everybody listening is thinking that I was about to shit all over her. No, dude. More if I could make a joke and then ride that for a couple million, I would run that shit into the ground, son.
Yeah.
And then I would do this podcast weekly because I'd have enough money to not give a fuck, and it would be tremendous.
How much do you think her friend is regretting that she didn't answer that question now?
Ooh. Probably a good bit, but I think who's regretting it even more? The dude who interviewed her.
Yeah.
No one talks about that guy, and that was like his whole thing was he was trying to, you know, that's his show. And no one gives a fuck about that. They just care about the girl because she was cute and she talked about spitting on a dick.
Yep.
And all of our man brains went, whoa, we love her. She sucks wieners. I love it. More power to her, man. Like I said,
Haley,
dude,
if you play video games, we got an invite for you.
Yeah, come talk to us. But we're not paying any Cameo fees or anything like that. Like, nah. I went on Cameo one time. I was going to get one for a buddy of mine, and I saw the prices of it, and I was like, wow. I hope, like, I'm glad they do, like, where you can go and look at the little previews and see, like, some of that they've done for others. Because there are people who charge, like, $500 for a Cameo, and they'll send you, like, a 15-second, like, hey there, how you doing? Your friend told me to send you a video, so here's a video. I hope you're doing good. All right, bye. And it's like, wow, that was $500.
Yeah, right. That's expensive.
But, and that's an extreme example, but there, you know, it's just, it is wild to me how much people care about celebrities. It really is. So, Rings of Power. What else you been watching? You told me there were a few that you've been delving into.
One anime that I'm not going to talk about because it's related to a question. So I won't spoil the title because when I talk about the plot device that it uses, it'll give away the story. I just finished Flyin. I've forgotten what the subtitle for it is, but it's the one where it's the elf after they've beaten the Demon King. It's a real adventure type story where it shows what happens after a bunch of fantasy heroes defeat the Demon Lord.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more on the moe side, and it just shows Flyin traveling around the world. Because she's an elf, she outlives all her companions and how she deals with those deaths and how it impacts her and how she makes new relationships along the way.
That sounds awesome. You said Flyin?
Flyin? Yeah.
Flyin. Okay. I'll have to try to find that on the website that I use.
It was number one anime in 2023. One of the seasons in 2023. But yeah, really good anime.
That reminds me of I was scrolling through Steam, and I don't remember the name of the game, but there's like a farming simulator type game, but it's like a Stardew Valley-esque graphical style that you play as a healer. A healer. My goodness, I can't talk tonight. You play as a hero after the big bad has been beaten and the world has been saved, and it's like, now what do? I'm gonna go live on a farm, and that's the story of that game. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, I think there's a few anime with that premise as well. But that sounds cool. Then yeah, I'd play a game like that.
It's just like, I'm like, it seems like it could be an interesting way to weave a story for one of those style of games.
Yeah. 100%. And I've just been playing a shit ton of fighting games. I got Tekken 7 not too long ago. Been really diving into that. Very interesting because I haven't played a Tekken since Tekken 2 back on PS1.
Yeah, bitch. That's my favorite. I got that disc back here somewhere.
Yep. Law's my main so far. Eddie's DLC, otherwise he would be as well. Don't know what the fuck they've done to my boy Yoshimitsu, but I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of strange now, right?
Yeah. And the bear's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who I beat the game with. I ended up beating the final boss, but I can't remember who I did it with. It might have been Law. Might have been Paul. No, I'm sorry. I did it with, what's the boxing guy? Is it Steve?
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I think his name's Steve. Let's go in there and just throw in punches. That's my thing. I like characters that punch.
Yeah. Because was Tekken also the series that had the boxing kangaroo?
Yeah. That was in Tekken 2. That was one of the unlockable characters you could get. I miss unlockable characters, man. Like, they're all just DLC now.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I shouldn't have to pay for Armor King. Like, he should be unlockable when you beat King's story. You get Armor King.
100%.
You know, also... go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like... filled me with anticipation when I finally got Smash Bros. Ultimate, of beating the couple of stages and then it just have the silhouette of the character. You wouldn't know who you'd be fighting to unlock. And that just, that brought me back to a good time playing through that.
I've thought about seeing if I can emulate that game and play. I'm sure I can, and play through it without any graphical errors. And then, because I want to unlock all the characters. You know what I mean? I think that would be fun. Oh shit, what was I gonna say? What were we just talking about?
Unlockable characters in fighting games.
Not before. Oh, no, yes, fighting it. Dude, sorry, It's been a long week. The Tekken 7 suffers for the same thing that a lot of fighting games do, and I don't know if you've noticed this, is that game is relatively a good challenge until you get to that final fight with that chick, and she is hard as shit. And then she goes into a second form and hits even harder. And it's like, ugh, what is this? It gave me King of Fighters flashbacks fighting Chrysalid.
Yeah, so a lot of fighting games seem to do that, because I was even playing Guilty Gear a couple of months ago now. But the arcade mode in that, first 3 fighters, easy. Next 3 fighters, bit more of a challenge, but you can get there with your combos. The final boss, fucking hell, man. Yeah.
I call them quarter eaters.
Yep.
Because that's what they're designed to do.
Arcade days. Yeah.
Is eat your quarters. It's like, yeah, man, they're gonna make you feel really good, and you almost beat it. You almost have that satisfaction, and then you get something that's so hard, you're gonna keep pumping quarters into the machine until you beat it.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant way to make money.
Yeah.
But I mean,
do they still have arcades in your neck of the woods?
Ooh, so there is an arcade in Gainesville, but it is a barcade. Okay. So it's an arcade with a bar in it that basically feeds on nostalgia and people's want for alcohol at the same time. And then you have like Chuck E. Cheese and Dave and Buster's and stuff like that. But as far as just straight up arcades, they're few and far between around here that I know of. Okay.
We've got one at our local bowling alley called Kingpin, which is a great play on words. But it's got very few like video games. It's got like all the interactive ones, like the music one that you can play in Yakuza, actually, which is quite cool. It's got like the Halo one with like the stand-up guns and everything, where you can actually like get involved, and shit ton of claw machines, which my kids waste a heap of money in.
I'm sure, yeah. And then they have like where you shoot the basketball into the basketball hoop and that kind of stuff. Yeah, those are the games that Jeremy really liked. he preferred those over the video games, if I remember right.
Okay.
I'm not sure why, but he did.
No, yeah.
Explain yourself in the chat if you actually still listen to the show, bitch.
He jumps into backlog golf when he beats a game, which is good.
Yeah, that's about the only time we hear from him. He pops in there and he's like...
Because he's winning.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he hasn't spent any money. He's just been playing Game Pass and beating shit. I was doing well there for a while, and then I got a new computer, and now I just chalked it up to I'm going to come in last. So, it's all good.
But how have you been this week?
Oh, man. I've been all right. Been doing some watching. Watched some more Kitchen Nightmares. That show's just ridiculous. It really is. I love it, and I love that there's also the ones like once I finish this series, I'm happy that I'm going to be able to check out the one where he goes and does the same thing but hotels, and then I think he did one with bars. So it's like I got some Gordon Ramsay content to binge for a while. I've also been playing some Kakarot, some DBZ Kakarot that we will be chatting about on the next episode. I'm really enjoying that game so far. Brings back a lot of memories from being a young kid and watching Toonami.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really looking forward to that episode you guys are going to do because, yeah, I grew up watching DBZ, the early morning cartoons on Cheese TV we had in Australia before school.
That is an amazing name. Cheese TV?
Yeah, it's just the program name, not the actual channel, because we're boring down here and we just have the numbers of the channel as the name of the channel.
Channel 17.
Yep. But yeah, Cheese TV, like just the morning variety show, used to be, I think, for ages, just cycle through those, what would have been on Toonami in terms of anime. So your Sailor Moons, your One Piece, your DBZ, all those sorts of ones, yeah. And it'd just mix them up when they went from 7 a.m. to 8:30, unfortunately, though. So because I had to walk to school, I missed whatever was in the 8 to 8:30 time slot.
Oh, that's a bummer. See, our Toonami came on in the middle of the night. It started at like 11 p.m. and then went till like 3 a.m.
Yeah,
like
okay.
It was weird. Like, so for a long time, Cartoon Network, and I could be misremembering. In fact, I think I am. I think Cartoon Network ran their programming from 7 a.m. till like, I think 10 p.m. Or it might have been 9 p.m. And once it hit that, it switched over to Adult Swim, which was adult cartoons and adult programming. Think Family Guy, American Dad, things like that. But more like Metalocalypse, Squidbillies, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Like those were the original stuff that was coming on. And then, no, I'm sorry. Adult Swim came on after. So it would have been 9 to 11 was Toonami. That's right. There was a 2-hour block of anime. And then 11 a.m. on, or 11 p.m. on, excuse me, because that was kids were in bed. That was when Adult Swim came on. So it was cool, but it wasn't, it was a little bit longer of a block. But they would play, you had your Sailor Moons, your Dragon Ball Zs, your Naruto and things like that. But then they would start throwing in stuff like Bleach, Trinity Blood.
Oh, nice.
Like some of the more darker animes. I think they showed some Death Note on there too, and things like that. So like, they would show random things like that, and then Adult Swim would come on, and that's when you got your adult entertainment. They also, Adult Swim would do these things. I think it was for April Fool's Day, where they would just do shit. Like they would play an episode of Futurama, but they had gone in and edited mustaches on every character for the whole episode. Like, and they would just do weird shit like that. Like one time they promised they were going to play the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie in its entirety on the channel a week before the movie came out. And they did, in a little letterbox in the corner of the screen that had no audio. And the normal screen was playing their normal TV stuff. And just down here in the bottom, like a picture-in-picture, was just the Aqua Teen movie with no sound.
Yeah, right.
Like, they would just troll their viewers all the time. And it was hilarious. And their interludes, the stuff they would play between episodes and between commercials and stuff of legend. I want to bug Dane and Jeff to get on their show and do a whole episode about Adult Swim and all the weird shit that they used to do. Like, I think that would be really fun for a media dump.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think down here that got pushed to like the 10:30 time slot just because of our propensity to love to not show stuff and ban stuff real easily. Which, that makes me remember. I got one more thing to plug.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I've got a new part-time job working for the Australian Classification Board. Yeah, so with Video Games Media, I can now review and submit a report about its rating. So that's been a long time goal of mine because, yeah, definitely here in Australia we have banned things we probably shouldn't. By all means, things like GTA and like Manhunt and all that, children shouldn't be allowed to play that by no fucking means. But we're a bit limiting it entirely from adults over 18 being able to play media is fucking stupid. So I've done one review so far for a game I can't talk about because of NDAs. But it's going to be pretty fucking cool. And any game developers, reach out to me because that's how I get my work. Game developers have to reach out to me. I don't get allocated anything. So any game companies that want something reviewed for Australia, hit me up.
Yeah, for sure. Are you able to like put it out there on Twitter that you offer that?
Yeah.
Because that might be a good way to do it, you know, or maybe like a game dev Discord type thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of devs already have their go-to people, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but you never know. Like you could get in with an indie company whose game hits it big, and then you're their go-to guy.
Yeah.
So there's always that, man. You know, I mean, glass half full. Glass half full.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for not getting paid though, but I do get to see content and play content before it's released, so I see that as the plus side.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. You can be one of those people. It's like, well, actually, I got to play that before release. My friend gave me a code. Yeah. There went half of our listeners because they're like, "What the fuck's he mocking me for?"
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I love you all. You know that. Let's see. What else? I got a new bed, so I put together the frame and cut it out. Like all of it came today, so that's been what I've been up to today. So I am like low on energy. So if I sound like I'm wiry and ornery, it's just because I am like running on fumes. But I got the new mattress, got to cut it open and watch it expand, which was cool. But I can't lay on. I can't. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say nothing better than a new mattress. Nothing better.
Yeah, and I gotta wait 24 hours for it to fully do its thing before I can lay on it. So now I'm just looking at it, and I'm looking on the floor where I'm gonna sleep tonight. I'm like, And then tomorrow we have some family friends coming in, so I'm gonna do some ribs on the grill for them. Dad made some sides and stuff today, like potato salad, macaroni salad, coleslaw, typical American barbecue sides.
Nice.
And should be a good time. Got two racks of spare ribs. So I'll be posting pictures in the Discord, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters, if you want to come and join.
And it's good having your parents back?
Yeah, it's nice. Like they're watching Lilith right now. She's out there playing with them, which is nice because I'm not worried about her while I'm recording like I was last week. But yeah, man, I mean, as much as it sucks having to live at home because it's like, who wants to like bring friends or a girl home to your parents' house? My parents are actually super fucking cool. Like they typically leave me alone if I have company over. Like they'll like stay to their room and I get to kind of have reign of whatever. But other than that, dude, it's like they're two of like my best friends because I'm around here all the time. I talk to them, so it's like I don't mind. And with the way the economy is right now, it's like I can stay here and try to save up some money, or I can go get a shitty like 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment for $1,600 a month. And who the fuck can afford that by yourself? Like I would need to find a girlfriend or a dude that I wouldn't mind sharing a fucking bedroom with. Like, and there's just, I don't like people enough, man.
Yeah, fucking feel that. Feel that. Like, with 2 kids and 2 dogs, I sometimes wish I could move back home.
I tell you, dude, there are some times where I really get down on myself about being here, and then I remember I'm like, dude, I would be struggling if I wasn't here. You know what I mean? And like, I have a friend of mine, I love her to death, but she's always getting on my case about finding a job, and I'm like, honey, I'm applying to places all the time. I'm just not hearing back, or I hear back and they say that they've gone with another candidate, or I go through the first process and then I don't make it through the second process because of whatever reason. And I said, I'm at the point now where like I'm considering just getting like a local fast food job just to have money coming in until I can find something better than that. And her response was like, well, I'd have done that fucking month or two ago. And I'm like, well, good for you. Good for you, because what little pride I have is keeping me from trying to work a job like that, because I know I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
You know, like, so that's like,
yeah, man.
Other than that, dude, I picked up, what was it? I picked up 2 games recently. Elite Dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Space game. I was like, I've heard really good things about this, and I'm going to check it out because I like space games, you know, between No Man's Sky, X4 Foundations, I like me a space game. And then I got a game called Shredders.
Oh, yeah, the snowboarding one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading some review about it, and they were like, this is the closest thing I've played to Amped back on the Xbox. And I was like, oh, dude, growing up, I had Amped 2, and that was one of my favorite fucking games on Xbox, because not only could you ride the snowboard down the mountain, but they had a snow skateboard. It was a skateboard with a ski on the bottom of it. And it was so fun to carve down the mountain on that thing and hit a kickflip and shit. Like, oh, it was so cool, dude. That's and I don't know if Shredders has that, but the snowboarding does remind me of Amped, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the time I've played in it so far. Though it was one of those, I bought it and then didn't load it up for a week or two, and then the other night, it was like I was so tired, but I was like, oh, I feel like playing something for another 20 minutes before I go to bed, and I loaded that up and was like, all right, I have to make myself stop playing this and go to bed.
Yep. Yeah, I've been going through my physical collection lately, because some of the Xbox 360 shit I've got is actually like ramped up in price really well since the store closed. And I found Steep on Xbox One, and I'm like, oh yeah, fucking cool snowboarding game. So I chuck it in the console to boot up. Not only is it Ubisoft, which like, yeah, shit, you need to sign up for accounts and EULAs all over the fucking shop. It's online only, like Rise Republic and all that shit. So constant internet connection, if the servers are even still up. Like, luckily I only paid about $10 for this game, but I'm like, I just want a fucking offline snowboarding game I can play.
I have Steep on Steam, and I tell you what, I will install it. Well, not while we're recording because I don't want to fuck with my internet, but I will install it and let you know if the servers are still up. Because I enjoyed Steep. That was a fun game to play because you could go between snowboarding and skiing.
Okay.
And they had like a wingsuit that you could use and stuff like that. Like, it was a fun game, but yeah, it was definitely one of those Ubisoft, you have to be online to play.
Yep.
Which is odd to me, but you know.
I think it might have been the precursor to Riders Republic, because Rise Republic is very much like that, except like BMX skateboarding.
I think I've heard of Riders Republic, but I don't think I've played it.
It's a free-to-play, online-only one, yeah. But I booted... Elite Dangerous sounds familiar. I think I booted up on console. Fucking hated it, because it's an RTS on Xbox, which just didn't suit. So I might have to give it a try on PC.
I don't know if Elite Dangerous is an RTS, because I think it's a first-person... if I remember right, it's a first-person, like, where you're flying ships around in space and stuff and doing, like, dogfights or trading. And then the version I got, because it's, like, a definitive edition, there's a DLC called Odyssey, where, like, you can apparently land on planets and run around in third person. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of Elite Dangerous then. I'm thinking of something else. Don't mind me.
No. I in my head, I can think of the game you're talking about, because there are a few, like, StarCraft-esque type games where it's like an RTS in space, like Galactic Civilization and things like that. But yeah, man, I also have been playing 2 games in particular, 2 that we're going to talk about today. And listeners, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter episode, because I'm going to be honest with you guys right up front. I don't have a ton to say about either of these games. And that's not hating on them or their quality. I just don't have a lot to say.
Well, we had 45 minutes of pre-banter, so...
Beautiful. That's what I was hoping for. So, let's start with the O-dubs for... Let me get it pulled up. The Mortuary Assistant. Ooh, spooky. So, The Mortuary Assistant is a 2022 horror game developed by Darkstone Digital via Unity and published by Dread XP. Set in 1998 in a small town in Connecticut, players control a newly hired assistant at a haunted mortuary. Rebecca Owens, an assistant at a mortuary who embalms corpses under the watch of her boss, Raymond Delver, Players must engage in the mundane aspects of this job while avoiding demonic possession in a haunted mortuary. This involves jump scares and puzzles. PC Gamer described it as more or less a walking simulator with some haunted scenery. It's played from a first-person perspective, and you must correctly identify which corpses are possessed, the demon possessing them, and perform the correct exorcism to survive. This process is timed and is indicated by a post-it note mechanic, which we can touch on. It has multiple endings with a new ending added in July of 2023. The story is procedurally generated, but the game remembers what vignettes the player has seen and shows different ones in each playthrough. So I remember when this game was coming out, I was super hyped about it because I thought it was going to be a different game than it is. Let me just be honest. I thought it was going to be more along the lines of like a horror game where the setting is like a spooky mortuary, but then it kind of branches out from that. But it doesn't. It all pretty much takes place inside of this mortuary. First thoughts, Adam.
So I only heard about this when it came up for the short poll, and I'm like, oh, cool. I thought it was like a surgery sim at first, and I didn't look too much into it. Luckily, because when I first started playing this game, I thought you could die. I'm glad I didn't learn that you couldn't, unless you failed the timer, because it really did add to the atmosphere. So this game has a really strong opening, I feel. The opening cutscene, but what the fuck? I don't know whether it was because I was trying to run it too high for the engine, but I was getting out of sync audio, weird fucking mouth movements, everything. Listen. When she's speaking to her grandma in that cafe, I was like, what the fuck?
Okay. I think that is chalked up to that this is an indie game.
Okay.
Because I got a pretty beastly fucking computer now. And I was running this on max everything. And mother of God, did those characters just have something wrong with them. The uncanny valley of it. Like, they somehow made these NPCs have an uncanny valley-esqueness to it. Because it's like they were people that didn't know how to be people. But they were trying to be people and act. Oh, it was weird, bro. I'm right there with you. Yeah, it was odd.
Okay. But once Rebecca got into the mortuary and you do your tutorial, which is you take your body out on the gurney, put it on the table, and cut it. Oh, yep.
No, I was saying, let's not brush over the fact that the first fucking body that you walk into, he's like, oh, yeah, I've already finished up Mr. Dalton. You can roll him back and put him away. And I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Really? Mr. Dalton right off the bat? All right.
Yeah, it was his last name, though. And, okay, so I read DALTON, but on his plaque on the freezer, it's DOLTON. Yep. So is this an English dev?
You know what? Darkstone Digital?
I'm guessing their second language is English, because there were numerous spelling errors.
Okay, it's one guy.
Okay.
And his name is Brian Clark.
Sorry, Brian. Proofread your work, though.
I just clicked the thing to take... Oh, never mind. Okay, so he's got a few games out, but it doesn't tell me where he's from. But with a name like Brian Clark, I'm going to guess he's from America or England.
Yeah. Brian, your testers need to do some better work on picking up your spelling mistakes. Yeah. But apart from that, like the game mechanics, I'm like, this is going to be fucking cool when you start operating on the body. So you look for the marks, this is kind of what I wanted, is like a murder mystery investigation type game where you're the pathologist who tells these people's story, tells these victims' story and gives like the ghost closure from their murder and help solve their murders. That's what I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah. There's some spookiness. I knew there would be some spookiness because it was a horror game, but that was more what I was hoping for, yeah.
And so as Rebecca does her first night, all's good. Then you come back and shit starts really hitting the fan. Because you get locked in and you're like, ooh, okay, a jump scare. This is where we're fucking getting somewhere. And the atmosphere was good, but I never really felt like I was going to die at any time.
There were a couple things that creeped me out, like when I was doing the first one after the tutorial, and I'm embalming the body, and I'm in there alone. I know the dude's not in there with me, and I just hear, "Why did you let me die?" And I was like, "What the fuck was that?" And then I turned around, and it was like, I guess the body had said it to me that I was working on and stuff. It's just fucking creepy, man.
Yeah, and I wonder how far the procedural generation goes, because that was also the first vignette that I got from the body. But you get things like the doors opening and closing, the shutters, the window shutter, the body actually sitting up as you progress through the night. So in terms of the actual getting the body prepped to go into the incinerator, I was pretty good with. Like, it's pretty like I said, surgery simulator, basically. Reminds me of those old Trauma Center games on the DS and the Wii that I absolutely fucking loved. And I'm like, yeah, I can really get into this. Then we get to the demons. And I didn't really have a fucking idea what to do.
Yeah, I want to say that this, I don't remember it really giving you much of an idea of how to handle it, really, other than like you have to start looking at these symbols and I guess cross-referencing to the thing that tells you, which symbols represent what demon and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie, I didn't get far enough to delve more into that. I did end up watching Ash Millman do a stream of it. I recommend her channel, Ash Millman, on YouTube. And I got to see the ending that she got, but the gameplay just didn't vibe with me. So I have a thing where like I don't like hospitals. I don't like I don't like going to the doctor. I mean, I will because I know it's needed, but I just don't like to. There's something creepy about it, right? And the thing that creeps me out about hospitals is that there are dead bodies in there. Some that have not been found yet, that they are dead, or they've just flatlined and they're running like on a 3 or 4 floors above me. Someone's flatlined and dying, and they're going and trying to save them. And that creeps me out. And I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's fitting. Me and my dad went to go visit we were picking up my grandpa from the hospital one time. And we went to go get the car and bring it around front so we could wheel him out and get him into the vehicle. And I was explaining to my dad this whole fear of hospitals. I won't call it a fear, but I just dislike them because dead bodies. And my dad's like, I agree, man. It just gives me the willies. At that exact moment, down the hall, an elevator opens. And out comes a gurney with a body on it with a sheet pulled completely over it and a dude pushing it, just whistling like he's just going about his day. And he looks at us, "Hey folks, how you doing today?" And we're like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And me and my dad kept our cool and we kept walking and we walked around the corner where the guy couldn't see us anymore. And both of us were like, "Meh!" And just like fucking, I was like, I looked at him, I said, "You see, that's what I was fucking talking about right there. That's what I'm fucking talking about." So this game gave me flashbacks to that because you're just dealing with dead bodies. I want to say that there was more to it than I expected, as far as they wanted you to like hook in, drain the body of its fluid. You had to run it until you saw it running clear with no more blood. And then you had to like moisturize the face. You had to wire the mouth shut. There was a lot of things that was going on, and a lot of like camera zoom ins on what you're doing that really allow for jump scares when it pulls back and there's a demon sitting in the corner staring at you from a shadow,
Yep. So hospitals over here, because I'm quite fortunate that I'm from a populous city in Australia. So hospitals are never like they portray in the movies and TV shows. They're always very well lit up. There's always a lot of people. However, I wanted to go into death investigation at one point. I didn't really have the patience or probably the smarts to complete a medical degree to do it. But at one of our university subjects, we took a trip to the city morgue and we got to see people on the slab. And it was unsettling. Like, some people couldn't handle it very well. Some people threw up. There was a smell to there as well that wasn't very pleasant at all. And I could feel my stomach churning. And I got quite close, but it wasn't scary per se. One of my friends from primary school, actually, she ended up going into working at a mortuary, doing the makeup for the bodies, for the families. So she would have loved this game because I feel the sim aspects were really good.
And I think that job would be a little easier coming in after all the stuff that takes place in the game is done. Then you just go in and make them look good. At that point, you're like making them pretty for their final presentation. I feel like that's more feeling like you're doing them a service. Whereas when you're when you're actually a mortuary, like in this game, when you're draining them of their blood and you're putting eye caps in their eyes so their eyes don't bulge out and
filling them with formaldehyde.
I'm getting you just saw me literally that was real. That fucking cringe I just did. It's just fucking freaky. But there was just something about the gameplay that couldn't hold me.
Yeah, and I was very much the same.
And I chalked this up to much like I did Plague Tale, where when I was watching Ash play it, I was enthralled by what was going on because I wasn't actually the one doing it. I was just watching the story play out, which I don't know how much of the story you got, but the backstory is basically the girl that you're playing as is an ex-drug addict, and she had lost her mom to drug addiction, and her father was a recovering drug addict. And there's a cutscene that you have to do. This is why this game is kind of hardcore. There's a cutscene that you have to do where you're in like disheveled in your bathroom in your apartment, and your quest is to find your syringe. So you have to go and find your heroin needle, which is on the bathtub, and you grab it, and some other stuff happens, and then you wake up back in reality, and it's the demon fucking with you. And quick side note, how to tell how possessed you're getting is you open your menu and you have a scratch pad, and it's just some scratches with a pen. The more you get possessed, the more those scratches start turning into like a demonic drawing of a demon symbol and stuff, and like slit your own throat and things like that show up, and it's pretty brutal.
Yep.
But
and
oh no, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and the demon also plays tricks on you as well throughout. So like you could be working on body, and it'll just fucking sit up, and it'll point to the door, and the lights will go off, and you'll go turn on the light switch again, and the body's standing upright, and then it walks, and then it falls. So that was one of my little vignettes that scared the absolute shit out of me. Because I'll be upfront, I don't like horror games. And unfortunately, with my schedule, the only time I can play horror games is in the dead of night. So I leave the lights on. I don't play it with headphones.
Yeah, I'm the same way, bro. I'm like, nah, dude, I don't want that. I don't want that smoke.
But the funny thing about that body, you do 3 bodies across the night, and the ending I ended up getting was, and I guess we'll just say the spoilers, because there's six or so different endings you can get.
5 or 6.
Yeah, the one I got, I thought, oh yeah, sweet. I've burned the right body. I've killed the demon. Because it starts off, you go in, the dude's in there. He says, you survived the night. She's like, cool. I don't really want to do this job anymore. And then she goes to walk off, and then the dude says something again, and she basically goes, you're fucked. And like, turns out that Rachel's been possessed, and she just uses some hand magic bullshit, and this dude's body just gets twisted into a fucking pretzel.
Yes, dude.
Yeah,
she crumples him up into a ball, basically in the air, and just throws him.
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
So I burnt the wrong body.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what happens if you burn the wrong body. Yeah. Now, did you get the cutscene that gave her backstory, where she was like laying on the ground when she's like laying there, and like this guy comes up and starts talking to her, and it's her dad, and she is overdosing, and she's like by a waterfront, laying down in this puddle. And he's like, oh my God, no, my sweetie, no, okay, stay with me. There's cops right over, you can see cop lights. He goes, there are cops right over there. I'm going to go get them. So he runs off for help, and your chick's just laying there, and you can see her hands like gray because she's losing blood because she's fucking dying from an overdose. And her dad comes running back over, and he's like, she's over here. And he trips, and he falls, and he smashes his head on the ground when there's like a rock right there. Bam! And blood just starts seeping from his head, and he just slides off into the water.
Yeah, okay. So,
like, holy shit. Oh, no, that's all.
I found her sobriety chip, and I also had a scene where she was in, like, rehab, and you, like, walk into a room, and she's hanging from the ceiling, and the demon's just like, you should have fucking killed yourself. So there's some pretty full-on themes in there for this game.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely some themes of, self-harm and suicide for sure with the demon. It reminds me of The Exorcist, and they're like, your mother sucks cocks in hell. And shit like that, except they're just like, slit your own throat.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a few different endings. Like, there's one where Rachel goes to leave, and she gets in her car, and she just can't make herself leave, so she gets out and goes back in. Also, I don't know if it's that first night that you go in there, or if it's one of the other nights, but you go in and the door slams behind you, and you turn around and there's a dude in a hood standing outside of the door, and it's your doctor guy, and he's like, shut you in there. And that's when he explains, like, no, you have to stay because there's this other shit going on, yada yada yada. So you can do some sleuthing. And did you ever get into his basement that was locked?
No.
So if you go down, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was too worried about the timer. Anything that I know has a timer in games, it just puts a lot of pressure on me.
It stresses you out. Yeah, me too. But there is a downstairs basement area, and you go down there and you can see that he's been trying to like deal with his demon problem. He knows about it. He's lost workers to it and stuff like that. And you start hearing some shit over in the corner, and you go over and there's a casket there. And through the little slot, you see this woman, and turns out it was his first assistant who got possessed by the demon. And she starts talking to you like normally, and then you can tell that like the demon will come and start talking to you instead, and they go back and forth like that. And it's pretty intense. I know there's an ending where you get possessed and the doctor takes you and locks you in a casket in the basement with that, like down there with that other chick, and Rachel's like, "Let me out! I'll fucking kill you! Let me out!"
Yeah.
He's like, "It's too late for you, Rachel." It's hardcore, man.
So in terms of actually working out what the demon is, I went on a Steam guide after I had my very short playthrough. So my one playthrough where I burnt the wrong body only took me about an hour and a half, because you're given 3 random bodies each night, and if you burn the body successfully, you move on to a second and then a third night where you get that good ending in the end. But on this guide, it said there are a variety of things that you can use to try and, or that are indicators of the demon. So ones that aren't indicators are haunts, which are the scripted events that don't correlate to the correct body. Cuts appearing on the body as you're looking at them, which was something I had quite a bit, is also, it isn't indicative of which body the demon's in. The body moaning or speaking on the embalming table. The body pointing and contorting on the embalming table. So I'll chuck a screenshot in later, but I had a full-on fucking exorcist moment where it was levitating and contorting on the table.
That's awesome.
Freaked me the fuck out. Yeah. Did you have any really scary?
So the one thing that freaked me out was I'm playing and I'm doing my thing, and the body sits up and just turns and points down the hallway. All right. And I look down the hallway, and there's just like a woman who looks like the chick from The Ring almost standing at the other end of the hallway. Now, here's the thing I don't like about this game. If you were playing and there is a jump scare, like say that chick's down the hallway and you just want to ignore her and keep doing what you're doing, you can't. You cannot progress until you go trigger the jump scare, which I think is kind of odd. It's like you have to trigger the jump scare. So you have to walk down the hallway and get her to like... So obviously I did. I walked down the hallway and she like comes at you and then disappears when she gets to you. But like... Yeah, I just thought it was weird that you make players have to... Because sometimes it's like it might be in a different room and you have to go seek out the jump scare before you can move on, which I think is a little detrimental to some playthroughs.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the scariest thing I saw, was just that bitch just standing at the end of the hallway just like, "I will eat your soul." It's like, oh God.
I have to say though, some of the cadavers had some funny names. So I had a Korean bloke who was my second body. His name was Hung Kok. Yeah. So I was fucking around a little bit in it before we jumped on to record today. And yeah, I'm guessing there's some jokes in there, some in-jokes, some funny names, I'm guessing, for the cadavers, and some funny ways that they've died, I'm guessing, in their autopsy reports. I didn't get a chance to read too many. But apparently the ashes are the easiest way to reveal the demon's name. If you put them on the body, it'll light up to the symbol, and if that symbol corresponds to the one that you've chosen, then that's the easiest way to pick the right demon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when it got to the point where I had to figure out what the demon was, I got lost and then just ended up, honestly, giving up.
Yeah.
I hate to admit that, but I did. I was like, man, I could be playing Kakarot right now.
Yeah, I was very much the same. That, like I said, that playthrough only took me 90 minutes. I fucked it up, but I felt like I was right near the end. And it felt like a long 90 minutes, to be honest. Like, it wasn't one of those games where it went quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I even played like an hour, maybe a little less than an hour, and I could have sworn I played 2 or 3. So it's a very, if you're into this style of game, it's going to be your thing. If not, it's probably not. You know what I mean? There is an option on the main menu that you can just do embalming without having to worry about. Yeah, it's just embalming mode, and you don't have to worry about ghosts or demons or anything. You just embalm bodies. So I might be more into that, but then again, like that was part of it that really creeped me. That's the horror for me, is just working on dead bodies. So
yeah, for any aspiring people that want to go into the medical field, try and bum mode.
Yeah, let's fucking hammer into someone's jaw. That was the worst part for me, was putting in the wires in the jaw, because you have to lift the thing up and then hammer it down, lift it up and hammer it down. And I'm like, oh my God, to imagine if you were alive and having that happen to you. Like, people who have to get their jaw wired shut, I understand now why they put you to sleep when they wire your jaw shut. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The soreness.
There's a movie I probably won't recommend for you, Dalton, but it's a very good psychological thriller called Pathology. It's about a doctor that moves to a new hospital, and the doctors are just serial killers. So they get people on their tables for operations that they could easily fix and bring home, but they end up killing them. And
that sounds awful.
Yeah, they've got a little game between themselves about who can get away with the most murders. Like,
Jesus, it's Pathology.
It came out early 2000s. It's got Milo Ventimiglia in it from Heroes. And also, who's the other main dude? I might just need to quickly look it up. So it came out 2008. It's got Alyssa Milano in it from Charmed. Okay. I know her. And Michael Weston, who has been in fuck ton of movies and is a really good actor.
That name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
Now, was this like a worldwide thing? Was this an Australian movie or?
No, American.
American? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was somebody was talking about the other day that Jon Moxley in AEW right now is basing his wrestling character off of a movie that was an Australian flick. Oh, it had an interesting name. What was it?
Wolf Creek?
No, it was a weird name. Hold on. Romper Stomper.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, he's basing his character off Russell Crowe's character in that movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but Romper Stomper, it's an interesting name.
Yeah, it's a very hardcore prison gangy movie.
Really?
Lots, yeah. I think a bit of rape. I haven't seen it, but...
Oh, geez. I haven't, I wouldn't think of that with the name Romper Stomper. I'd have thought it was like a fighting movie or something.
No, it's 992 it came out. Yeah, R-rated, R18+.
I think that was...
Oh no, it's about youth gang who spend their nights attacking Asian immigrants in a rough section of Melbourne.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so
Nazi skinheads. Yeah.
I was going to say, so he's playing a Nazi skinhead. Weird, but alright. That explains the bag over Daniel Bryan's head at the last pay-per-view. Dude, okay, so this is just a little side tangent. I love wrestling. I love deathmatch wrestling. I love all kinds of wrestling, right? But deathmatch wrestling has a place, and that place is not on TV and not on pay-per-views where kids can see it. And on the recent AEW pay-per-view, not only did Jon Moxley put a plastic bag over Bryan Danielson, his head, and suffocate him, quote unquote, or try to. In the main event, Adam Page took a syringe and stuck it inside of Swerve Strickland's cheek. And it was just sticking out of his mouth, this fucking needle. And I'm like, that's a little much for me. If I was watching something like CZW, then I get it, because that's exactly what you're going to CZW for. That's what they do. You know what I mean? They do the tournament of death and things like that. But I don't know. That's, like I said, just side tangent. Means nothing to this conversation.
That sounds really full on, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking brutal. But yeah, do you have anything else that we wanted to talk about the Mortuary Assistant? You want to rate it so we can get into the second game of the episode?
Yeah. Okay. I've got a rating, so I'll go first if that's all right.
Yeah, please go for it.
So, yeah, this game is a really good short experience, I think. If you like clicking on things and you like looking at medical procedures, because I believe the actual embalming procedure was quite realistic. So if you like that kind of thing and you can get your head around the demon mechanic, I think that people would actually really enjoy this game. At the end of the day, it wasn't for me, and the graphics in-game are fine, but you're going to be shocked at the cutscene graphics.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
And if you're looking for a horror experience, this probably wouldn't be for you, because the way you die is by fucking up of your own accord, not being captured or caught by a demon. So this is a 5 ashes out of 10 sigils.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to pretty much agree with everything that you said. I do think it has its spooky factor, but I don't know how much of that is because dead bodies creep me out. But it did have some decent jump scares. I'm not the biggest fan of jump scares though. I prefer more psychological horror type stuff. So I'm going to give this game a 5 as well. A 5 mortuaries out of 10 demon-possessed assistants. Which, sir, brings us to our next game that we're going to talk about. And I know I said I didn't have much to say about Mortuary Assistant, and then we had a pretty decent conversation about it. I really don't have much to say about this one. So this is Blazing Chrome. And according to the Wikipedia, the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit, Blazing Chrome is a run-and-gun video game developed by Joy Masher and published by the Arcade Crew. The game was released on July 11th, 2019 for Windows, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic future of 21XX. Following a war that nearly kills off the human race, a robot army rules the world and attempt to destroy the remnants of humanity. The game follows a resistance group who fights back against them. Players can control 2 different characters, Mavra, a human resistance soldier, and Doyle, a robot, reprogrammed to fight for the resistance. Blazing Chrome received generally favorable reviews from critics, being frequently compared to Contra, and 2021 an enhanced version titled Blazing Chrome AC was released in arcades on EXA Arcadia. So this is very much an arcade game. Like, you can tell playing it right off the bat that this is built in the classic style of those run and gun shooters like Contra, Metal Slug, those style of games. I don't know about you, Adam. I suck at run and gun games.
Yeah, you definitely aren't alone. I bird this up and I thought, oh, cool. It's like Contra. Like, you can definitely tell that it's an homage to those type of games. And normally, like, I'll give them a go. And I don't have much experience with Contra or Metal Slug. But there's one specific mechanic about this game that I absolutely fucking hate. And it's that you die in one shot.
Yes, I hate it. It's fucking terrible.
Normally, these type of games are good when it's a plane on a screen. So your Solar Striker, your Akai Katana, I can generally get along with because you've got maneuverability. And I'm sure if you are good at these types of games, these characters would be maneuverable. But I set this on easy, and I still fucking ran through 1.5 continues before I beat the first level.
I think I used 2 continues, if that makes you feel better.
Oh, only slightly. But being able to just hold down a gun and run with it is good. I played this on controller. Did you play mouse and keyboard? Okay.
No, I also played on controller.
I feel like this would have been maybe better with mouse for the precision aspect. I don't know.
I think so. I think because, and this is something I brought up to you before we started recording, there was a particular spot in the, I'll call it episode 2, but it was the second level, where you're on a motorbike throughout the most of the beginning of it. And that's fine. It played like, you would think a run and gun motorbike shooting level goes. But about halfway through, you end up, your bike gets destroyed and you're on the back of this train on foot. Well, then there are enemies coming up underneath the train shooting at you, and you have to aim down to shoot at them. Well, the problem on the controller is when you go to aim down, your character will aim down for a second and then lay prone, because down on the D-pad is to lay prone. And you can't shoot down while laying prone. So I died like 5 times. Actually, I think I ended up having to use a continue, and then that was the point I gave up, because my character wouldn't aim down. And I'm like, this is a game flaw. This is not a player issue. This is the controls. I almost wonder if on PC, if you aim with your mouse and then you have to hit S on the key to go down, because if that's the case, it would be way fucking easier.
Yep. So some positives of this game. I do have a couple.
Yeah, me too.
The game looks pretty fucking good. It's of that style, of the 80s, not early 90s style, but it looks fucking good for emulating that style. And I think the power-ups are quite good as well. There's only 3 of them, I think, from memory. You've got like a bomb one, a whip, and one more that I've forgotten about.
Yeah, I know there were also like there was one, like you picked up a little buddy that shielded you, or like a little buddy that would shoot with you as well.
Yep.
But like I'm just gonna say right now, my favorite weapon was that purple whip that you shot out of your gun. That was the best weapon in the fucking game. Like I hated the bombs, but that whip, it was so good.
Yeah. And the game did give you the option of playing the first 4 levels at any point. So you didn't have to start level 1. If you, again, your ass kicked on a particular level, for me it was level 2, you can move on and try level 3 and level 4. So level 5 and level 6 are unlocked after you beat the first 4, and then that's the game. So I did appreciate that they knew people were going to get frustrated at this game by being able to give you the other levels to go, so you're not smashing your controller against the fucking wall.
And interestingly enough, level 3 on the difficulty rating scale that they had was easier than level 2.
Yep.
Which I was like, well, why not just swap those 2 around? But whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I will agree that this game looks really good. Like they did the pixel art style they're going for. They fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Which character did you play as?
The robot.
I also played as Doyle. Yeah, the robot. He just looked super cool. I was like, man, you look awesome. I'm gonna take you.
There were 2 other characters that were grayed out for me.
Yeah, they're locked. I don't know who they are. And this article does not tell me who they are either, so I'm not sure. Okay. Oh wait, yeah, it just says there's 6 levels in total, 4 already unlocked, 2 that have to be unlocked. No, yeah, it doesn't mention who the other 2 characters are, so I don't know.
Okay. They also had seasonal skins for the enemies, so I played with the Halloween skin.
I did not notice that. Did they really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool. I like features like that when games do like little seasonal things that you can enjoy.
Yeah, because we're basically at Halloween. Come on, guys. I know our Halloween chat's already started.
Yeah,
coming up again.
I think we typically open it a month early and then close it when Thanksgiving hits, because then it's like Thanksgiving. Or no, I'm sorry, we might close it a little bit before then. But I know Thanksgiving is when we open up the Christmas channel. I think. Okay. I don't know. Nate's in charge of that.
Yeah. But like the platforming was fine, jumping was fine. There were some enemies that were just at fucking random angles, particularly on that bike level. Having enemies come from behind me was really fucking annoying and kill me out of nowhere when I think I'm on a good run. The checkpointing wasn't great either, because I get up to like the sub-boss and die and then go back to the start of the level instead of close to the sub-boss.
See, that's where I think like games like Mega Man did it right, where you could die and you would spawn like maybe either right before the boss or like a couple back, but you didn't usually get sent all the way back to the very beginning unless you died right before that midpoint checkpoint.
Yeah. And I don't know how popular this game is in the community because, like we talked about prior, Dalton, there aren't mods for this game available at the moment to help people out on different platforms.
Yeah.
I'd love to play
had
this.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was saying Wiimote had nothing. It was that W with the slash through it, and I was just like, well, damn.
A super easy mode for this game with save states would be very beneficial. Even if it paid out on you like Wolfenstein does for playing on the easiest difficulty. Like, I'd be happy with that so I could actually experience the full game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I know Nate has a big interest in this game, so I'll be interested when he gets around to playing it and he maybe he can tell us who those secret characters are, because they could be cool and we'll never know.
Yeah, someone who's actually good at these type of games, write in and let us know what it's like.
Yeah, because I do want to, like, it may not be for me and Adam, but any listeners, if you are into Metal Slug, if you're into Contra, those style of games, this game is going to be up your pooper. I promise. It is quite crisp, because really the only complaint that I have is the one-hit kill. Like, if I had like a little health bar, I would have gotten much further in this game, because it played smooth. There was no stutter or anything like that. The guns felt good. The enemies didn't feel unfair until I got to the one part where just the controls themselves were fucking me up. So yeah, I don't look negatively at this game at all. I just accept that this type of game is not really for me.
Yeah.
So anything else you wanted to touch on about it, or you want to get into some ratings for it?
It's always on sale. Like, I think I picked it up for $3.99, So just echoing what you said, Dalton, that if you really enjoy this genre of game, go look it up on Steam, Fanatical, wherever you get your cheap games, because it'll be a good experience for you.
And I will say that this is a game that I got through Twitch Prime. Linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account kind of gives you access to Amazon games and stuff. And if you have been somebody who's been claiming those games for a long time, you probably have this and don't know it, because they gave it away quite a while ago. But I can't tell you how many games that I've bought on Steam. Perfect example, Lawnmower Simulator, right? I bought it on Steam, and then I went and looked on Epic. I think the next week Epic gave it away for free. And then I had gotten it for free like 6 months before that through Twitch Prime and had completely forgotten. So I own that game 3 times now, and I paid for it one time, didn't have to. It's like, damn it, man.
Yeah. I am kicking myself at how much money I've spent on games for PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox. For back when I didn't have a good PC, I was still claiming all these games on Epic, on Amazon, all that kind of thing. But I'm like, well, my shitty laptop just can't run these games. Like, I had Death Stranding, the new Saints Row remake, all sorts of like really high, intense graphic games that just wouldn't run. So I went and bought them on console, and now I'm just like, god damn it. I could have just kept them for free and used that money to buy my new PC a little bit earlier.
But hindsight's always 20/20, my good sir.
Yeah. So
what would you rate Blazing Chrome?
Okay. So my only complaint was very much echoing yours. Like, if I had a bit more health, I would have been able to get through this game. I would have slogged through it, which tells me that this game is worth something.
Yeah.
Those who love the genre are going to have a good time with it. It's a short experience. I think Hell on Debate only has it about 4 hours for the whole experience, but there's definitely that replayability. I'm guessing once you unlock the characters, they may operate differently. So you can play through the game maybe even 6 times. So turn that 3-4 hours into 18-24 hours. It looks beautiful, emulating its craft, and the mechanics that I did experience, I liked. I love the little buddy. I love the power-ups. The bombs did get me out of some tricky situations. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 7 apocalyptic wastelands out of 10 robot armies.
Man, we're just in agreement tonight, apparently. Because, yeah, I admit this game's not for me, but it looked really good. It plays really good, and people who like this kind of thing are really going to like it, and I appreciate it for what it is. So I'm also going to give it a 7 chromes out of 10. Bet she could suck off a truck. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Yeah. I bet that girl could suck the chrome off a truck hitch. Yeah. But the game doesn't suck. Just my rating of it. All right. So we can do some listener questions, and then we'll do the house cleaning and hop up out of here. So our first question comes in from some dude named Adam. What is an awesome storytelling device? Now, I'm curious what you mean by this. I'm going to let you go first so I can kind of get a vibe of what you mean.
Okay. So there is a piece of media that I have watched recently that had an amazing storytelling device. I didn't say the name of it because it would spoil it for those who need to go in blind. So what this piece of media did was parallel storyline telling without giving away that it was a parallel storyline. So it was following 2 main characters across a number of episodes, showing and progressing the story. And it turns out, you find out around the 20th episode that these 2 people are set 12 years apart, and then they meet in the last 4 episodes, having shown their experiences among the 12 years apart. So one character is set in what could be termed the present, going through a war, etc. And the second character is experiencing how they got to where they were from 12 years in the past and showing their journey, and they're revealed to be a character that you didn't expect them to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very interesting premise. It almost reminds me of, there was a movie back in the day where it was like this guy and this girl were communicating through writing letters to one another in this mailbox, but they were like actually like years apart, and I don't remember the exact premise of it.
Is that the Keanu Reeves one?
It might be. It was a love story, like a romantic
movie.
And it was in the time where there was a lot of those that all blend together to me, like The Notebook and that era of movie where all the movies in the theater were to make your girlfriend cry and wish that you were a better boyfriend. Why can't you be like him?
Or you get laid because she was thinking about Ryan Gosling.
That too. That's why everybody was happy when Magic Mike came out. They're like, yeah, baby, go see that with your friends and come home. Absolutely. I'll have my fucking bathing suit on, ready to jump on the water slide. An awesome storytelling device. I like when... How do I put this into words? I like when something leads you to believe one thing, and then all of a sudden they give you this key piece of information, and it fucking changes everything, right? And I can't think of a good example of it right off the top of my head because I'm on the spot. But
so... I've got one, and
okay.
Again, spoiler. Saying it will say what the device is. Westworld. So jump, I don't know, 20 seconds ahead. When you find out that it's a world full of robots, and it's not a Wild West drama, like everyone thought.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, something along those lines. Or even like swerves, like spoilers for Persona 5. You've beaten Persona 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so spoilers for Persona 5, skip ahead 20, hit skip once or twice. Nate, I'm talking to you, skip ahead. The scene where you think Joker dies, and then it runs through the whole thing, I'm literally like welling up with tears as I'm playing, watching, like I've grown so attached to this character, and then there's that, we got him. And it turns out that's it was a swerve, bro. And it's just like, yeah, I stood up and cheered my TV. Yeah. I mean, I was so full on nerd. Like I was so into that shit. That was another one too. So like being able to misdirect the audience, I think is a very good storytelling device because you're able to play with their emotions a little,
Yep.
And really that's what counts. When something can really manipulate your emotions, that's when you know it's doing its job. All right. So this next one comes in from Jeff, and I can only imagine that it's which of these would you like to live in? Because he gave no context. It's just a picture with 4, right? So you got Valentine from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Sunset City from Sunset Overdrive. You've got Willamette, Colorado, which is the mall in Dead Rising.
Dead Rising, yep.
And then you've got Liberty City, GTA 4. I don't want to live in any of these. But if I had to, I think, and I've never played the game, but I think the least chaotic place to live is going to be Sunset City.
Oh, well, so I have played Sunset Overdrive, and the premise of that game is you're running around the city because an energy drink has turned people into rabid monsters.
Oh.
So the only safe traversal is to grind the city sky rails and stuff like that.
All right, then my choice is Liberty City. Because it's just like living in New York City.
Yeah. So I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, so I don't know how dangerous Valentine actually is. But I imagine with the Wild West, if you can shoot, you're pretty much good? ?
Yeah, learn to quick draw with a pistol. Yeah. Valentine, so I think going back to live in Valentine would be more like, do you think you could live back in those times? Like late 1800s, like, little to no medication, just rough and tumble life, no air conditioning, none of that.
Yeah. Okay. Sunset City need to be really, really athletic to get around. And Dead Rising, you're going to run out of supplies eventually. There's a reason why that game had a time limit.
Yep.
And GTA 4, Nico really brought all his troubles on himself. Controversial opinion.
Yeah. Nico, you want to go bowling, cousin?
I would probably go Liberty City as well.
Yeah, man, because you could just like stay home, order in.
Yeah.
And it's not like GTA 5. Like GTA 4 online was primitive compared to GTA 5 online. So as long as you're not living in the online, you'll be all right. All right, so this next one. You have enough to buy 3 games, and these are all PlayStation 2 games. I'm going to read them out. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Backyard Wrestling, don't try this at home, Dragon Quest 8. I had to make sure it wasn't 7. I'm like, no, 7 came out on PS1. Yeah, Dragon Quest 8, Time Splitters 2, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Def Jam, Fight for New York, Metal Gear Solid 2, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, Final Fantasy X, God of War, Need for Speed Underground 2, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, and Sonic Plus Mega Collection. This is not easy for me because I owned a lot of these games and loved the shit out of them.
That's interesting because I'm coming from the complete opposite perspective. I was an Xbox kid. I owned a couple of these, but there are some PS2 exclusives on, which I have since played.
Okay, I'm going to break this down like this. For story-wise, I'm going Dragon Quest 8 because I've never beaten Dragon Quest 8. I've beaten Metal Gear Solid 2. It's my favorite Metal Gear game. I've beaten God of War. I've beaten San Andreas. Up next is my fighting game, and I'm going SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, but I love the shit out of Mortal Kombat Armageddon. You could create your own character in that game, and it was awesome because you could unlock and set your own fatalities. Third choice is a little harder because it's between Time Splitters 2, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, and Need for Speed Underground 2. And I think I've got the action game. I've got fighting and stuff. I'm going Need for Speed. So I'm going Dragon Quest 8, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and Need for Speed Underground 2.
Yeah, they're solid choices.
Oh, and this one comes in from Adam, by the way.
I am taking a similar way to pick these that you did and splitting them up by genres. Because as you were reading out the list, 4 of the fighting games jumped out at me immediately. And I'm like, shit, I can't pick 3 fighting games. Budokai 3, I think, was the one that had Super Saiyan 4 transformation in it. And that thing is the most underutilized DBZ transformation ever, in my opinion. I love Super Saiyan 4.
Is that blue hair?
No, so it's red, tall, body, black hair, red tail, out of GT.
I've never seen GT. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because it's stuck in that non-canon thing now. It's not utilized anywhere. But it's so fucking cool. So Budokai 3 is my fighting game. I'll have to go Time Splitters 2 for the shooter because I've just got a lot of good memories playing it co-op.
Such a good game.
With a good friend of mine.
Dude, and so many characters to play as.
Yeah.
And even more in Future Perfect. Dude, that was such a good series. Why don't they bring that shit back? But I am worried that they would either bring it back and it would be like you need to get the battle pass to unlock all the characters or buy the DLC instead of just making them unlockable like they were in the originals. Yeah.
Didn't they, I think they're re-released on PS Extra now for PS5, PS4.
Ooh.
Time Splitters. They brought them back.
Well, that's cool. They should put them on Steam. God damn it.
They should. Yes. Or GOG, right. At least.
Or GOG, yeah. So what's your third?
I played San Andreas but never beat it. I think that was the first game that had curse words in it for me, actually.
Fuck you, CJ.
And I had a really good time with Mortal Kombat, but I don't want to choose another fighter. So one that I've gone back to, I didn't play it at the time, gone back to it, and absolutely loved the shit out of it, was Final Fantasy X. Only Final Fantasy that I've ever beaten.
It's a great game.
Fan-fucking-tastic story. Yeah, great game. Yeah. Great mechanics. Yeah. My man Yojimbo all the way.
Yes, bitch. Yojimbo's the man. I do want to echo a statement that Dane said in the Discord, and I also agree that if that had been the original Ratchet and Clank and not Up Your Arsenal, I would have had a lot harder time not choosing Ratchet and Clank. I love Ratchet and Clank.
Okay.
Like, if it was Ratchet and Clank or if it was, like, Jak and Daxter, I'd have been crying. And, that's it. That's the last question.
Yep.
All right, then, man. Let me pull up the housekeeping. If you would do us a favor and go give us a review over on iTunes or Spotify, we would very, very much appreciate that. Give us a 5-star. Leave us your information on there. Not leave us your information, but, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about the show. We do appreciate it. We try to take in the criticisms that we get and make things better. If you want to join the Discord, it's where all the cool stuff happens. Fuck social media. That is bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Type that in, hit enter. It will take you to a thing that will give you a invite into the Discord. Come join. You can vote on the fan polls that are up. And just overall have a good time. We've put together a really nice community, and I'm really quite proud of it, to be honest with you. I love those guys. And if you are a fan of social media, Steam_podcast on Twitter or X, it's basically the only place that I'm relatively semi-active. If you want to check out the website, is bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast. Just capitalize that phonetically. All of that is episodes and the show notes and stuff kept up to date by one Dane. We appreciate you, sir. He will be joining us on the next episode for DBZ Kakarot along with Mikolov. If you want to donate to the show, which is very much appreciated while I'm looking for work, it helps me keep the lights on, helps me keep the show going. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who does donate. It is patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. It'll get your episodes early, ad-free. You get the extra banter in the beginnings, most episodes. Not this week, but it's because we're doing an early one. And if you donate $10 or more, you can get your name read on each and every episode like these wonderful people. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of June-iper, Jeff, the original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, old Jeffy, Lube, Ariesoradam. Go check out his blog in the Discord that he updates sometimes, the Revival and Extinction, or actually just come join our game, the Backlog Golf. That's more fun. Team Retrogue, go check him out over on YouTube. Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, Chad the Mad Lad, no goddamn seeing his last name Shaffer, and Flyin Brian Doran Gray. I appreciate each and every one of you. You are wonderful, wonderful people. Shout out to Yabs Pod, yet another BS podcast. You go check out the archives wherever you get your podcasts. Shout out to the JRPG Report, which is a bi-weekly news show that I do that is the news for everything coming out of Japan. That's RPG goodness. Pick up a shirt, tsmpproductions.threadless.com. You want to check out my music, nilenightmare.bandcamp.com. You can also check out my album, Tragedy Idol The Longing, on Spotify. It's up there. It's my 5-song EP that I did. I enjoy it, so hopefully you would too. And yes, Adam is rocking a Steam Machine shirt right now. Thank you very much, my good sir. And again, just leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Do you have anything you'd like to plug, man?
Yeah. So my blogs, I am going to start posting them more in Steam Machine Discord, but the website that they're at is at superpodnetwork.com. Head on over there. There's a bunch of different podcasters who do a bunch of different things, and that's probably the main thing. I just wanted to give another shout out to Infinite Backlog because it is a great little site. It's growing in community as well. And check out the TSMP Discord, where, like Dalton said, we play backlog golf. You're probably a bit late to start this year, but come January 2025, we will be kicking it off again. Hopefully working out a more automated way to record scores.
Yeah,
because we have been running off the honor system. But yeah, it's all a good time.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point now that I've stopped updating my score. I'm just coming in last. Like, I've almost just deleted my score and just put last in there because that's just how it's going to be, because I have bought some games that I'm like, oh, this will look really good on this new PC, and yeah, it's just I'll never beat enough to catch back up to where I was. But it is what it is, man. I got my VR rig and stuff. It's worth it, you know.
You were leading one month. I think it was about June. Yeah,
I was, and then suddenly it all came crashing down like the Roman Empire.
That is the nature of the backlog.
But I do want to give a quick shout out to Dane and Jeff's Media Dump. Mr. Puzzles Dane and Mr. Grumpy, old Jeffy Lube. They started a podcast. They just released their second episode. Their first episode was on the Fallout series of TV show, and their second episode was on Red Dead Redemption. And then I don't want to spoil what their third episode is going to be about, but I am super hyped for it. It's something that I enjoyed watching with my dad growing up, and I'll just leave it at that. So, definitely go check them out. Dane and Jeff's Media Dump. Love those guys. You've heard them both on this show. You both know they have lustrous, sexy tones. So, go give them a shot, eh? Yeah. Other than that, man, Adam, thank you for joining me, my good sir, knocking this episode out. And I don't know what to do with myself for the next week, so I guess I'm just going to dive into some Kakarot.
Yes, very much enjoy that DBZ goodness.
Yes, absolutely. I forgot how much of a little badass Gohan is. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. But that'll be more for the next episode. So until then, everybody, do me a favor. Take it easy.